Hi there, I'm Rebecca and a really warm welcome back to my channel, PumpkinBecki. In this week's video we're going to be going back to a beech forest that I began almost 3 years ago to the day. Let's get started. So firstly I'd like to say huge apologies if I'm a bit lackluster today. I'm definitely getting the beginnings of a cold, so my mental agility is, and yeah, I'm nursing a sore throat. I'm going to battle on through. I may not say very much, but we'll we'll see how we get on. The first video about this beech forest was back in April 2001. I'd done exactly what I've done today. I had bought some fabulous hedging plants from B&Q and I potted them up. A substantial quantity of them died. Yay. I had them all beautifully laid out. I was so proud of myself, got lots of lovely comments, and yeah, they just said, no, we don't like this, we're going to die, thank you. So I am only left with 2, and I do believe I even tried buying another pot and sticking some more in, and they died as well. So I thought I would try and change the fortunes of this forest by moving it out of this attempt at a training pot, a washing up bowl, and I would actually move it up into a proper training pot, the same size as the one I've done for my hornbeam forest. The trees that are remaining are really nice. A bit skinny, they haven't put on a huge amount of growth, but you know, they're good trees. I think because I just kept losing them, I didn't really do anything to them. I've definitely cut the top out of one of them. I don't know whether I did that in the video or not. That has died back to a shoulder, quite a long way actually. That's like 1.5 inches worth of dieback there, so I will go back in and cut that off once I've finished doing what I'm doing. And then I've bought myself another pot of hedging plants to just see if I can get this going again. I know it worked. I've still got 2 trees left out of, I don't know, like probably 9 trees. I remember reading somewhere that beech have a particularly symbiotic relationship with their native soil and the mycorrhiza within it. So I don't know, maybe I took too much off. Really hard to say. This is the state we're in. So what I'm going to do is get these trees unpotted. I'm going to, a lot of this akadama looks pretty good. So I'm going to clean the top of this, then clean off the new trees and see about setting up a new forest. I have a freebie. It's a tiny, tiny silver birch. I want to pot it into something. Wait. It's 19 degrees outside today and definitely far too hot to have the greenhouse door shut, so apologies, there's going to be a lot of road noise. Even though this akadama is 3 years old, it's still in really good nick, so I'm thinking I'm probably going to try and reuse it in the other pot. I have just emptied the last of my bag of akadama out into my bucket and mixed it up, so I'm super low in new akadama. And I believe that this is going to be the last thing I try and repot this year, so I guess there's another dead tree, so that's at least 2 dead trees I've just found. So I'm sort of loath to go ahead and buy another bag of akadama right now. I think everything else is now too late to repot anyway, and I think I've done everything. Wow. Last week, Jason Hanrahan joined me in the live chat, and he very sweetly afterwards put out a community post drawing his subscribers to my videos and encouraging them to come and have a look at my channel, which was so sweet of him. Thank you, Jason. I just can't even begin to say how kind that is. So there's a very good chance that this is one of the first videos you are watching from me, if you have come from there. So welcome. I thought that even though I'm not feeling super duper, I ought to try and sort of use that impetus that that community post has given my channel. So I'm going to power through. It's Katie the Miniature Dachshund's 5th birthday tomorrow, so that's lovely and scary all at the same time. Darcy's going in to have a tooth removed in a couple of weeks' time. Looking forward to that. Worryingly, that might be the only Akadama I can actually save. Oh, it's a big pot to fill as well. I don't know if that's tie down or maybe that's just securing the mesh. There it is. I did hear some really sad news this week, and that's that my friends at eCoco have stopped trading. I'm really sad about that. They put it down to import costs and shipping costs and those sorts of things, and that's a real shame. A real shame. Such lovely people. I wish them all the very best in the future. Yeah, really upset for them. But yeah, you can see that some of the Akadama that's coming out is lovely. The original 2 trees are now done. They've had their roots pruned. They are sitting somewhere cool, just waiting to go back into the planting. Here I have a pot with 4 beech saplings. I bought these actually, I think about a year ago, and they've just been sitting waiting for this opportunity. They are again from B&Q. They were £10, so I think this year this size pot's gone up to £12. I've also got a volunteer goat willow. I've got a funny story to tell you about goat willows, but that's for another day when I'm feeling more humorous. So unlike the hornbeams, these are probably pretty well rooted, I hope. That root ball just absolutely fell apart on me, so looks like there might actually have been another tree in here, but it's it's gone. There's a stump in there. Don't think it was a weed. So literally all I did to these last year was feed them. I didn't prune anything. I just let them grow and fed them. Which does mean that these have never had their roots looked at. You can see that these have already pushed out into leaf. I moved this pot out of the normal area and the sort of north facing wall of the house last week, and they were still, the buds were there, but they were pretty tight. They were just starting to extend a little bit, and I thought I was going to get round to this last week, and it did not happen. So again, we're a little late doing this, but I absolutely don't want to leave this any later. Some of those leaves have fully pushed out. I've had lots of people asking how my Katsura maple is doing. She's fine. I did pluck off some leaves, and so far so good. I'm hoping I'm not sort of just in a period where she's coping with what was already in the system, and she hasn't quite realised that I've removed what I've removed from her roots. We shall see. When I say I plucked off roots, all I did was pinch them off, leaving the petiole connecting it to the branch in place. So you've literally taken the leaf off, not the whole leaf and stalk. So I'm keeping a very close eye on Katsura, checking it at least once a day, especially as the temperature has just soared in the daytimes. But I mean, we had a frost the other night, so that big difference in temperatures is probably going to be the thing that's the problem. As I say, she is protected right up against the wall of the house, out of wind, out of direct sunlight, still quite bright there, and so far so good. One of the next trees I do want to look at, so actually maybe I do need to buy another bag of Akadama, is Crabapple Tina. She seems to have quite a fan base. People are always asking me how she's doing. She is packed with flower again this year, so that's really exciting. I am unfortunately going to be plucking all those flowers off so that I can actually get to the roots this year, because so far she's only had a sort of cursory look just to try and find the top of the root flare. It looks like these were potted before B&Q decided to go completely peat free, so this is a fairly normal compost. The one that the hornbeams came in was absolutely peat free and was very friable, and the soil just fell off them. They had quite complicated roots, but the cleaning process was actually fairly easy. Now I don't want to go at these roots hammer and tong and maybe just, I don't know, saw the bottom off, because I have never worked these roots. I have no idea where the root plane is. Yes, I've got some early roots happening up here, but they may not be my true root base. It might be sort of halfway down here, in which case I could very well risk damaging the roots I actually need. So we just keep going, gently, gently. So you can see the dead stump here. But it is, oh, no it's not. So that died almost as soon as it was struck as a cutting. There's very, very little by way of root growth, if anything at all. So that was never going to do anything. These were really well knotted together, but I have managed to get them apart now. And you can see that with most of them, the real roots are down here. They are not these little ones up here. So if I had gone ahead and just cut these off, I could have been losing my whole root system. The important bit, of course, is where we start to lose some taper. So I think let's make a start and remove some of these higher up ones. Because I know they will be of no use to me. We've got some stacked roots here. These three are all right on top of each other. And depending on what angle you look at, I don't think you start to lose taper until you get to about here, really. So I could lose the top two sets of that. So it does depend which angle you look at the tree, because if you looked at it from here, then this does get quite narrow, but if you look from here, it just continues to flare. So yeah, that gives us some options. Lots of these roots are trying to grow up, which is of no use to us. Look at that one. Ooh. I don't have anything narrow to prune to there, so we'll get rid of that one. I'm going to get rid of this one as well. Okay, so there we go, we are left with that root ball down at the bottom. So you might see people go straight in at their roots with saws. That's fine if you know the root system, if you've been working that root system, then you can make a really good judgment call that actually you won't need any of those roots and you can just take them off. But if you've never worked that root system, you have no idea what you're going to find or not find. Prune all the roots back to encourage branching. That's a lovely root flare. Just pop off those little bits that are definitely poking upwards, little fine roots that have started to grow there. You can reduce that knuckle a tiny bit. Yeah, lovely. While I'm here, I'm also going to remove the old leaves. Beech will retain their leaves during the winter. They don't need them now, so we'll remove them. That's the next one. That's pretty cool. Look at that. That suggests to me that they put the cutting right down to the base of the pot, and the roots have just gone, ooh, okay. That is a ready-made root flare if ever I saw one. Very little happening above. You can do a little bit of, I don't know, might be able to just take that knobbly bit down a tiny bit, but yeah, cool. So by pruning these back, we are reducing the vigour, but we are also encouraging branching and fine feeder root growth, which is exactly what we want. Brilliant. Yay, that was a nice quick one. Any of these slightly coarser roots or any that are crossing can be reduced or removed entirely. I'm going to leave that one on. It might be that in a future repotting I get rid of that, but for now it's not so high above the root plane that it's going to cause a problem. It should flow quite nicely down into the soil. Great. Number 2. Number 3, not quite so helpful, but not a million miles away. Remove the really high ones. And now let's have a look. Yeah, not bad. I'm going to get away with taking off all these upper roots. Carefully. That one. Because I'm not really losing any trunk flare once we get low beneath the soil. With the hornbeams I couldn't do that because I was starting to really lose thickness, but this is really helpful. This one is growing straight down and then dog legs off. I'm going to cut that right off. And leave myself with that root base. Come through and we prune off the ends. The first time I realised that you could prune the roots to create more branching and smaller branching like you do with the branches, it just completely blew my mind. It was quite some time ago that it completely blew my mind, but yeah, crazy that the roots behave in the same way as the branches. Just one tree to go. Amazing. Now this is great. I can't quite believe my luck with these actually. Yes, they were hard to get apart in the first place, but yeah, what I'm left with is brilliant. The trees are ready to go. So now we're going to come and look at the pot. This is a really nice big training pot from Bonsai to You in Lutterworth. I buy all my Akadama from them and lots of my training pots from them. They've got really good selection, great sizes. I really like them. I've been buying from them probably for about 4 or 5 years now, ever since I retook up bonsai. These have some crazy big holes in behind the feet, so what I've done is lay some of my insect door mesh just over the whole base of the pot. I've put through some tie wires, and I've also got some quite big scale lava and pumice which actually came out of the original forest planting. So we're popping in Akadama, lava and pumice, and I usually use something like 2 parts Akadama to 1 part lava and 1 part pumice. These pots take a lot of bonsai soil. I'm glad I was able to reclaim some of this. Just having a quick look at the trees for size and shape and which one could be the sort of dominant tree. I think this is my main tree. It's one of the ones from the original planting. So the wires that I have tying these trees down I'm going to leave long for now, so that I can use them to almost connect the trees at just above soil level. As I've said on other forest planting videos, I'm not a massive fan of the types that really lean far out. So I'm going to try and not do that. You might notice as I'm chopsticking the soil in, I'm actually slightly lifting the trees up. So they're straining a little bit against their tie-down wire. And that just means I am really driving the soil components underneath the base of the tree. And as I always say, we're not aiming to crush the soil components while we chopstick. What we're trying to do is make sure we're filling any voids, and that really helps secure the tree. When we give it a water, it will settle again, but we really do need both processes to properly secure those trees. I think my main tree has slipped a little bit too far around to that side and it's competing a bit with this one. However, this is not the last time that these will be repotted, so I have an opportunity to redress that once I've seen how they start to grow and fill in around each other. As you saw with my maple forest, you can come back years later and reset everything. It is not a problem. And in the long run will actually help with the development of the trees and their ongoing health. The roots are really bouncing up and I've got half a scoop left of bonsai soil, so what I'm going to have to do is use moss to really help keep these covered. I'm just soaking a little bit of moss from the garden because it's got so dry. Although it's been raining for most of March, it's suddenly in the last few days of dry weather it's just dried out. So a little bit of rainwater, just soaking that. So let's have a little look at the trees themselves. Now I know that they're prone to a little bit of dieback, I am going to give them a little bit more room for error. Sorry about that alarm. Any dead ones I will just remove. I'm definitely going to come in and take this stub off. Just at least reduce it a bit. There's still a bit of a bump there, but it is less obvious. Just going to start reducing the heights of them a little bit. I'm not quite sure where the top of my top tree is going to be yet, so I'm just going to start to reduce things in line with how it is now. My hope is that it will then make it start to push some buds further down the trunks. My one at the back needs to come way down. Now I've taken the top off this side one, it needs to be coming down to this here, but I don't want to take it down that far just yet. So I think initially, just for the health of the tree, I will only reduce it by that much. It is going to be out of scale, but we can consider that it's sort of a sacrifice. I'm trying to get some energy to these other ones, and in fact I've got some probably dead little branches happening here. Yep. So there's not an awful lot going on this one, so I don't want to just completely remove the top when I've got nothing else to grow and give it energy. This one, being the very back, should be the shortest. Now this has got lots of nice buds and branching, so I can probably fairly confidently come down to about here with it. It is only just shorter than this one, but again I'm hedging my bets with it a little bit. Hedging my bets. Have got a little bar branch or trifurcation happening here. Going to remove that one which grows to the back. Yeah, okay. It's not going to set the world on fire, but it's its first potting. What I would quite like to do is wire this one down and out, just a little bit. So I'm going to pair it with this branch. Beech have quite delicate bark, so I'm going to be as gentle as I can, try not to move the wire around on the trunk too much. So the last thing to do is pop the wet moss on. This will help stabilise the soil surface as well as temporarily cover up any roots that are trying to bounce up. And you've probably noticed I haven't tried to do any sort of landscaping in this. It just is what it is. And I think that's mainly because I don't really know what these trees are going to do yet. There's a very strong chance that the one that I think is my main tree actually isn't, and it's actually the one next to it. I think we'll see as time goes on and they begin to grow and develop. Some people don't see the need to put moss on until a tree is going into a show. That's fine. You do you. I have learnt so much from Ryan Neal at Bonsai Repotting, and mossing up newly planted trees is one of those things that he really does stress the importance of. So if that's what he says, that is what I will do. Yep, so right now it's super tall, far taller than I want it to be, but that is for the health of the trees. It's going to stay here in the greenhouse, out of the wind, so that it can start to get its roots out and settle in. Right, well that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to me here on YouTube. And until next time, bye.